All right, we're going to talk expectations for a second. Who's with me? You have this magical list of all the things that need doing. You even write it down. But you also have a kid who's not sleeping. It takes them 40 minutes to go down for a 30-minute disaster nap. Or you know that you have to drop them off for school and you've got 17 other appointments, and there's no way realistically that this stuff is going to get done. Okay. The stuff that, and let's be honest, the stuff that's going to get done is like the emergency stuff that you forgot about. It's not going to be the stuff that you need to get done. And by you, I mean you. I can't tell you how many moms I talk to in DMs or here in the office. They set themselves up to fail. And I've done this too. You set unrealistic expectations. And I think just calling ourselves out on it and setting realistic expectations. The one that comes up the most is, especially with moms that they've had second, third, fourth kid, it's not their first rodeo. And so when it's not your first, it doesn't kind of blow your mind as much. But the first thing that comes up is, oh, well, my body isn't bouncing back like it did the last time, or I'm not losing weight like I did the first time. What am I doing wrong? And let's just be real about this. And again, I went through this too, so I'm not sharing anything that I haven't, already experienced. You're older. You have 2+ children to keep alive. You probably are sleeping less. You're probably not eating as much as you should. You're older, by the way. And it's a different body. It's a body now that's gone through multiple deliveries, not just one. And it's not laying this stuff out there as an excuse. It's laying that stuff out there to be realistic with what we expect to accomplish in a period of time, to have some grace with ourselves, to understand the impact that life has had. Again, we're in year whatever we are of a pandemic. Sympathetic nervous system's been in fight or flight for a long time. Your metabolism's going to change. Things are going to be a little bit different. So again, I put this stuff out here not as an excuse, but as a mechanism to lay everything out, and let's be conscious about what we need to do. Okay, so if all of these things are the case, guess what? We're going to need to be intentional about diet, and grabbing, the corner of that grilled cheese sandwich from your toddler every day probably needs to change into a protein-rich, healthy snack or something along those lines. Or maybe you need to be more conscious about getting out for walks, because with your first, you could go and just walk anytime, and now you have to do what your toddler wants first, which may be the playground. And you might have to nurse at the playground or feed or something like that. Like, we have to be very deliberate about, if we want change, to acknowledge the things that are impacting our situation, so we can set clear expectations and set clear ways to kind of get to the goals that we're looking for. So I'm not saying these goals aren't realistic. I'm saying the situation has changed. We can't set expectations on unrealistic and unclear information. And I think it's incredibly important to be upfront about that. So I might be the bad guy being like, oh, yes, you need to be aware of this. You're older, you're all these things. And not being that person like, oh, it's just different. No, like, let's be clear. Let's be like really, really clear on what things are different. And then we can focus our interventions or our efforts or our time on the things that are going to make the changes that we're looking for. That doesn't ever go away, by the way. It doesn't. There's always something, right? So share with me, a situation where your expectations weren't realistic and, it didn't work out, or share with me where you set up some expectations that were realistic, and how it went. Sorry, this was supposed to be live, but, Zuckerberg, tech as usual. But hit me up in the DMs, hit me up in the comments. Let me know about your expectations and your experience. Love to hear it.